Stop the cap.
Some of y'all want my commentary on this situation with this Somali woman getting beat up and get hit with the brick in Houston. And apparently it was a Haitian guy that did it. That's what people are saying online. But Tariq beat me to it, and I wholeheartedly agree with all of Tariq's commentary on it. And I can definitely say all of his commentary on it. Because I actually had a vid, and I was going to post it, and then I was like, oh, he beat me to it. And then I was like, okay, let me go and listen to his video. And I listened to his video, and then I was like, damn, he's saying everything that I was going to say. So then I just was like, I guess I don't need to post it then, because it's already being said. Like, he picked up on quite a few things that I picked up on. First off, I knew she was not African American because of, her hair, that looser texture hair. Remember, I dated a Somali, and she's one of these, dark-skinned Somalis, and he called this out as well about how the dark-skinned Somalis call black people basically anybody who even remotely looks Bantu, because they think that they have their own unique look, and they always want to separate themselves. So you got to have good hair, and you got to have those more Arab features and lighter skin. And anybody who's not that, they call Jarir. That's their word for niggas. The same way as Arabs like to call black people Abid and Abid. Same shit, and I've already said, man, those East Africans, whether they're Habesha or whether they're Somali, they're confused, man. They're stuck between the black world, and they're stuck between that and the Arab world. And Arab supremacy is no different than white supremacy. Same shit. And so they got a lot of insecurities. They got a lot of self-hatred. You know what I mean? And, just the way that the world is set up, with white people being essentially the standard and defining everything, in the way that they like any other immigrant group that comes to America or comes to the West, where they see white people shitting on black people, and they think that it's okay to shit on black people. But, they think that's going to, that distinguishes themselves from us. Like they don't do any sort of fuck shit. And I agree wholeheartedly with Tariq Nasheed about, nah, y'all niggas need to hold y'all nuts, man. And he again called out what I called out. I'm like, yeah, let them niggas get some scholarships and shit. It'll be like, this is a win for Somalia, this is a win for Haiti, this is a win for Nigeria, right? Whenever it comes to these non-African American individuals, it's always a win for their individual group and their individual culture. This is a win for Somalia, uncle in the background, Allahu Akbar. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't got nothing to do with us. But let them go out here and do some fuck shit, then all of a sudden, we's black. We done had enough videos online. I done already roasted enough Somalians online about that shit. You know what I mean? They're running around screaming about how not black they are. Oh, we're Cushitic people. Oh, we not Bantu. And it gets real funny when you get into the ancient Egyptian stuff. But, I talked about that in other videos. But they got a whole bunch of fuck shit that they do. And I get sick and tired of the way that African American men are always used as the whipping boy in all of these conversations. First off, there's just shit that we don't do. That whole picking up a brick and smashing a chick up beside the head, that's not shit that we do. If they said that niggas spun the block and shot into a crowd of people and 3 women got hit, okay, that's us, and that's something that we got to talk about. But when it comes to this other fuck shit that these other groups do, I'm like, nah, y'all niggas need to hold your own nuts, man. You know what I mean? All that FGM that they do, in Somalia. Again, I was dating a Somalian chick, and she said that her mother didn't want to send her to Somalia because she had it done. You know, the other type of shit that these Muslims like to run around and do, you know, throwing acid in a bitch's face, you know, shit like that. Go ahead, Google the shit. When the last time you ever seen a case of an African American man throwing acid in a chick's face? You know what I'm saying? They do all that type of fuck shit. And then it's reinforced, you know, in a damn Quran about, you know, it's okay to beat your wife and all this other shit. Now, you can't beat random bitches, but you can definitely beat your wife. You know what I'm saying? What is that? What is that? Surah. What is that? Hold on. I'm gonna tell you exactly what surah it is. Hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up right quick. Hold on. Oh, come on. Why are you acting slow? Nope. Hold on. Here it is. Surah An-Nisa, or An-Nisa, which is chapter 4, verse 34 from the Quran. Men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other and what they spend for maintenance from their wealth. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in the husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them. But if they obey you, once more, seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand. And don't think that they don't take, this is about, you know, a man being married to his wife, but don't think that they don't have that same attitude, you know, when it comes to, you know, women that they're dating or women that they're messing around with, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of haram that goes on, regardless of how much it shouldn't go on, you know, with these, you know, with these like Muslim men. I was listening to Tariq's show, and it had that one guy, Habasha, and notice how the East Africans are sticking up for each other. You know what I mean? The Ethiopian men are Christian. The Somali men are Muslim. And the Habasha dude was like, you know, basically saying, you know, in our culture, like basically he was coming with a pan, it's not Pan-Africanism, it's Pan-Hornerism. And y'all gotta peep that Pan-Hornerism, because a lot of y'all, you overlook that shit. You know, so they'll sit there and go hard in the paint on some East African shit. And that guy was up there talking about, oh, we would have done worse. We would have thrown another brick at her. I'm like, you hear this? You know what I mean? That's not some FBA type shit. You know, and then even listening to Tariq's clip, you know, a lot of these guys calling it, he's been ragging on them about them not like being able to come up with some witty shit. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying, I've already spoken on this with, you know, a lot of that, you know, they got arranged marriages and because like the sexuality is not just out there in their culture, how they'll, what the hell was I going to say? The sexuality is not out there in their culture, and they got the arranged, marriages. Damn, what was I going to say? Hold on a second. It'll come to me. Damn. Oh, a lot of them don't have to develop game. You see the same shit with Indians and shit like that. Some Arabs, you see that with. They don't have to develop game. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to use their mouthpiece. They don't have to, you know, just spit any type of game. You know, they kind of like act like, you know, women are, you know, pieces of property that they possess and whatnot. And it gets real confusing for those that are born here. You know, and you know, there's tons of, you know, these type of folks that they come to the States and they act out of pocket, and they could never act that way back at home. They can never do all that shit that she was doing, the clothes that she was wearing. You know what I mean? If she was in Somalia and a news crew came up on her, she'd be wearing a hijab and an abaya, and you know, she'd be, you know, throwing the fabric over her face and shit. You know what I mean? You know, speaking to the camera. You know, can you tell us, ma'am? Can you tell us about Al-Shabaab and what happened here? That's exactly what she would be doing. You know what I mean? But now over here, she's going to try to use white supremacy, colorism, featureism to leverage herself over African American, which is what she did in the video. Even though in her own group, because she's not light skinned, she don't even have that much value. That's the crazy part. We done already seen the colorism with the Somalis and the East Africans and shit. They be having those weddings and shit, and the bitch's face doesn't match the rest of her body. You know what I mean? Her fucking neck is a different color than her face. We done seen all that shit, man. You know, y'all be out here acting like, like your sense of self is just so on point, and it's bullshit. It's bullshit. But I'm gonna tell you, enough about the Somalians. What pisses me off about this whole thing is the speed at which African American women jumped on this shit and got none of the facts. Even when it comes to her getting, hit with the brick and it's because she didn't give the number and whatnot. And like the dude that was there said, and I knew it, because anytime a motherfucker spaz out on that, whether they foundational Black American or not, it's usually because the woman did some extra shit. Some extra shit to piss the motherfucker off. Now, I'm not condoning it, but 9 times out of 10, it's because the way women try to make it like, they just walked away. I just didn't give him my number and I walked away. Nah, you probably said some fuck shit like, you dusty. You and your dirty ass shoes or something. Try to embarrass the dude. And that's why shit like that happens. You know what I'm saying? But people come online, they want to tell half the story. It's a part of the patriarchy. It's a part of the male misogyny. It's misogyny. Fuck out of here. Just all of that. This shit ain't got nothing to do with us. It's a goddamn Haitian dude and a Somalian woman. And again, nobody ever really everything's always relative to African Americans, I guess, because we're in the West and we're in America. But nobody ever talks about how these non-foundational Black American groups interact with each other. How these non-American descendants of slaves interact with each other. You see what I'm saying? Like nobody ever talks about that. Right? Like as though their cultures respect each other. You know what I mean? Like and then with the especially Black Muslims, which, to me, they're just like one of the most confused group of people, when it comes to their Blackness or their Arabness. You got all of the descendants of slaves, not American descendants of slaves, but just descendants of slaves, which is what you'll see in the Caribbean and whatnot. And we know, like, example, you go to the Caribbean, you go to Trinidad and Tobago and shit like that. They got the Carnival, which, you can go look up the history of the Carnival and where it originated. It came from Europe, and then like Black people put their spin on it, and it's the Carnival, right? But like, how does that exist? Or Caribbean, the way the Caribbeans move, who Caribbeans are equally as religions. You go down to the islands and shit. All they ever do is talk about white Jesus. It's nauseating. Okay, but in terms of women being half naked and stuff, it's fucking hot as fuck in the Caribbean. Yeah, you're gonna see women half naked. Yeah, you're gonna see the Carnival and all that other stuff. That shit doesn't fit into Islam. It doesn't fit into that shit. So there's how do they respect each other? We don't know. You know what I mean? Or, like with this woman, the shit that she was wearing, you know what I mean? Don't get it twisted. Yeah, she had a fat ass. You know what I mean? There's a lot of East African women that got some fat asses. But they can't be parading it around like that. Not like that, although you do see some of the shit online. It was so funny is you'll go online, you'll go on Instagram, and they got all these like Habesha pages. They doing a little shoulder dance, get some shoulder in there, right? They doing the shoulder neck dance and shit. And then you get this Somali, and they Somali because they got the hijab on, right? They got the abaya and all that shit. And then they be having these tight ass abayas, and then they dancing to like Da Baby, Little Baby, Gunna, Future, and it's just very interesting to watch. And a lot of the men, they get all mad and they get all, because again, they don't got a whole bunch of swag in their culture. They still playing the same damn music from fucking 3,000 years ago and shit, acting like that shit is the new hot fire. You know what I'm saying? So they go up there and they get mad at the women. You read the comment sections, they over there criticizing the women. This is not, this is not of a Muslim woman. This is not becoming of a Muslim woman. They go in there and they be spazzing out in the comment sections. And again, I think there's a lot of animosity and jealousy that comes towards us because of African Americans, promotion in media, and how globally we're pushed out into the rest of the world, especially in Western society or Western civilization. I see this stuff with the Somali. They got a video documentary on YouTube right now. They send their asses back to Somalia, to get their bitch act right. For the men and the women, but mostly the men, because the men go to the UK, they trying to be cool, they get themselves in all type of trouble, and then they asses get sent back to Somalia. There's a whole documentary, a whole video on the shit about them sending them back and whatnot. So I just don't like when they go off and do some fuck shit. Black people are supposed to, African Americans are supposed to absorb their L. But when they go and they do some positive shit, this is for Somalia, this is for whatever specific non-African American country that they come from. And I'm glad that Tariq called that out on putting a stop to that shit. But the part that really gets me in discussing these issues with African Americans is these turncoat black women that piggyback off of the shit. I'm like, this bitch is talking sideways about y'all. Up there, got the video, talking about black women and them getting their style from trans women, and up there talking about how much better she looks because she's East African and whatnot. Again, playing on the whole aspect and angle of white supremacy, colorism, and featureism. And y'all sisters so eager to mash on brothers, you up there, you co-signing the bitch. You know what I mean? And then y'all wonder why a lot of us get on the shit saying what we say about not fucking with y'all. I mean, we already got a ton of other issues with y'all, in terms of, lack of cooperation, belligerence, y'all going out there choosing unproductive men, having babies by them, then complaining about it later. The disrespectful disposition and whatnot, and then y'all reach so hard that you put shit on us that we don't even do. I don't mind sitting there and having discussions about shit that we actually do. Yeah, that's right. You're right. We fucked up on that. Brothers need to, we need to check our brethren about that. But when y'all got to go out here and you got to reach, you got to, go into, these other communities, which, again, it's one of the main reasons why y'all don't fuck with them. I mean, truth be told, y'all don't have no options like that because, when it comes to the white dudes, they not fucking with you like that. Then when it comes to the other races of black men, they not fucking with you like that. Then when you go over there, they on some archaic patriarchy shit where it's like, ain't really much of even an exchange. They be on some dusty shit and try to make patriarchy strictly some cultural shit and don't even, say, hey, this is the exchange. You get what the program I provide, so on and so forth. They be coming off on some, you just supposed to, you the woman, I'm the man, me strong man dick, you just supposed to get with the shit because I'm the man and that's what the fuck it is. And it's like, that ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? I feel this. I feel, the sisters on that don't want to fuck with that shit. But, stop with the bullshit about African American men are worse than all these other niggas around the world. All these other niggas around the globe. Stop that shit. You know what I'm saying? Most of us grew up in single mother homes. Most of us grew up with more egalitarianism and equality than most of the men around the rest of the world. You know what I mean? And I acknowledge sometimes that might be a problem. Because a lot of y'all like to run around and y'all want to argue for equality, and then when it comes to time to pay the check time or something like that, now you bitching when a dude's looking at you like an equal, which I don't think that he should. I'm just saying, how you respond to equality and what you say about equality don't line up. You know what I mean? But I can't stand when y'all be out here acting like African American men are on the same shit as all these other people that got their own cultural shit. This is the bullshit. This is the bullshit of the African matriarchy. You know what I mean? And because they'll sit there and be like, oh, Africa, women were ruling, and it was matriarchal, matrilineal, and in ancient Africa, we were running shit. Then, when they actually deal with African dudes or even Caribbean dudes, which still maintained a lot more of their culture than African Americans, where it was essentially wholly stripped from us, you know what I'm saying? Then they bitching about, oh, how hardcore patriarchal it is. And then they'll try to slickly be like, oh, well, see, Africa was matriarchal until the European came, colonized, all of Africa, and then, injected patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure the Ethiopians are going to have a lot to say about that one, even though the Italians, hung out there for a while. But in terms of the culture, been patriarchal. You know what I'm saying? But they always want to come up with make some shit up when it comes to African American men trying to justify, the economic disenfranchisement of African Americans here in America, and then how they leveraged, through the state in order to facilitate, the matriarchy and what's going on in the black community right now. But I'll be damned if anybody's gonna get up there and try to act like black men not only in one breath we're not patriarchal, and then in another breath we are super patriarchal, and the only patriarch that they want to apply to us is when niggas is putting hands on bitches or some negative shit, something that negatively affects women. You know what I mean? Then they want to put the shit on us. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man, I ain't, no. Y'all ain't putting that on us. You know what I'm saying? So, that shit just burns me up when they do that crap. It's just, I wasn't going to speak on it because, I put the video away. I was like, oh, Tariq already spoke on this. Let me put this away. Oh, let me go listen to Tariq's video. I sit down and listen to it. You know what I mean? And then, I go about my day. Then, I see all these recommendeds and I'm like, oh, everybody talking about this shit. I go on there. You got black women up there talking about the shit. You got African women up there talking about the shit. The African chick that, she's usually calling out white supremacy all the time. She's up there talking about, we must talk to the men and what they do to us. I'm like, who you talking about? You talking about us? You know what I mean? I'm like, you need to talk to your entire continent about the shit. You know what I mean? About what goes on with that. We ain't got nothing to do with that shit. Just this shit just burns me up. Sitting around listening to shit. Whenever I'm telling you, whenever these non-African American black folks do something positive, oh, they want to separate themselves from us. It's not a win for us. You know what I'm saying? Like they act like Morocco and shit, like with the fucking with the whatever you call it, the football Gold Cup and all that other shit. They up there. This is a win for the Islamic world. It's like, nigga, you in Africa. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, oh my bad. I forgot I was in Africa. We actually in our minds we separate us. North Africa is something different, right? And that's literally what all these other black folks do. Even the dark ones, the black people that are just as black, even the West Africans, they be on the same shit. When something positive, scholarships, PhDs, graduating from Ivy League schools off of African American scholarships. Shout out to my family in Nigeria. Oh, this, us Nigerians, we killing it. Us West Africans, us Ghanaian people, we killing it. Us Somalians, we killing it. But when it comes to we not African American, we separate. But let it be some negative shit. Oh, my bad behavior. See, we've been hanging around African Americans too much, and they nigga shit rubbed off on us. Fuck y'all, motherfuckers, man. Fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Y'all come over here because there's laws in place. There's America is freedom and got all this fucking gender equality and shit. Y'all come over here and y'all be showing your asses and shit. And then when you get caught up and the shit don't even have anything to do with us, especially like this shit, then you want to sit there and you want to talk about, we shall overcome, we's black people. Now you want to talk some Pan-Africanism. But any other time, it's tribalism, 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 tribalism. I talked about that. How many times have I talked about that? How many times have I said Africa is too fucking tribal, and that's why the majority of their shit fails? Okay, can't even communicate with the nigga on the other side of the river and shit. That's why it's so easy for Europeans to fucking come in there. Same thing happened to the Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? The Shawnee can't communicate with the Sioux, can't communicate with the Blackfoot, can't communicate with the Pawnee, can't communicate with the Mohicans. They couldn't organize shit because they couldn't communicate with each other. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care whether Africans speak English or not, or whatever language. Y'all pick a language and be like, that's the language that y'all gonna use as a universal language. Just like the Jewish people brought back a 2,000-year-old language and made Hebrew the language of Israel. Nobody was talking, they were talking Yiddish. They weren't talking Hebrew. Back in the early part of the 20th century in Europe, they weren't talking that shit. They were talking Yiddish. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, or German. All the Ashkenazis. Right? That's what they were talking. But the Africans, nah, y'all still on that tribal shit. I still hear shit even from Nigerians about Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, they be breaking shit down, and it's like, I'm like, nigga, nobody cares. Nobody cares outside of Africa. At the end of the day, all y'all are niggas. That's how they look at the shit. And a lot of y'all get y'all nigga wake-up call when you come here to the States and you find out they look at you the same way. Even though I'd argue that the smart white folks that are trying to maintain white supremacy, they go and they smell you out. They smell that curry goat, they smell that oxtail, and they're like, where are you from? And the next thing you know, they putting you up on a pedestal, and they throwing a whole bunch of money at you like Candace Owens to throw African Americans under the bus and speak against reparations, or speak against, black people responding violently against white supremacy and racism. A bunch of fucking turncoats, man. You know what I mean? Seriously speaking, like we gonna set y'all straight. One way or another, we gonna set y'all straight. Anyway, that's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.